Hello and welcome to another episode of Coach and Coffee. Quick point of reference, for some reason my house is getting infested by ladybugs. They're all over the door out here and somehow there's a ton of them on the inside panel of the window and on the wall on the inside, so I'm just gonna have to get rid of them. Probably just take them outside, probably not kill them all, but I don't know where they're coming from and why they're at my door, but whatever. Make sure you have your coffee with you. Today we're going to talk about what you should look for with a trainer and kind of what you should expect from a trainer slash coach. This is applicable across any type of goal or sport or whatever. So we're in OCR specifically. We didn't used to be. We are now because we love OCR and we want to focus on it and spend all our time with people who also want to improve in OCR and work in OCR. So that's what we do now, but before we train people with a million different goals. So one thing you need to look for with a coach that's very important is communication. If they're not willing to communicate back and forth with you, you probably are not dealing with a good coach. You should be able to ask a question and get a real answer and reply. I know when I was training a lot in the DC area, I would get texts from clients at all times of day and night with like questions or updates and all these different things. And you know, when you're working long hours and training tons of clients, it's impossible to reply immediately. But I always replied and I always answered the question that was asked because it's important. That's what they're paying you for, not just to show them how in the session, but to also answer questions they have, because the goal here is to help people learn and become healthier and better overall. And now there's a wasp. Man, it's just like bug central out here. Huh? So communication. It is a real red flag if they won't answer your questions or if they don't have answers to the question you're asking. Not every question has an answer right now, and for you it may not have a good answer. Like if someone came to me, and this happened many times when I was working in the DC area, and they'd say like, oh, I want to lose 40 pounds in the next 3 or 4 months. Can I do that? Well, yes, but no. Like most people can't, most people won't. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. But if I tell them yes, and it doesn't happen, then I'm a liar. But if I told them no and it is possible, then I'm a liar. So like there's always caveats. As long as they're answering the question like in a satisfactory way, or if it's something more nuanced like the example I just gave, they're not just saying yes or no, they're giving an explanation. That's important. Programming, extremely important. If you're just getting tossed workout after workout after workout, and especially if those workouts don't really have much application to your goals. For instance, so we have several clients on Trio Fitness OCR who come on specifically to improve their run times. So while we don't just do running coaching, because we do obstacle course race training, so it's strength, speed, and endurance. It's the whole package. You need to be good at all of them to be good at OCR. We do work with individuals specifically for running. So you know, if that's their goal and they're paying Trio for running coaching, but I'm giving them all sorts of strength workouts, my programming is obviously not very good. Now, there are strength workouts that go into programming for running because they help develop lower body strength and strength endurance, and perhaps there's weaknesses that runner has. Maybe they've had injuries in the past, so we program in strength training to fix those types of issues or to work on those types of issues, but the programming should match the goals. And I should be able to explain to my client why the program is the way it is and how it matches their goal. If I can't do that, I'm not a good coach. So if you find a coach who can't do that, kind of get rid of them, you know? Find one who can. Another thing to look for is, does the person you're talking to, man, I swear there's twice as many ladybugs as when I started this. Does the coach you're talking to practice what they preach? So there are a lot of places in which coaches, maybe they used to do it and they don't anymore. And to a certain degree, I'd allow some of that. So if someone's a lot older now, and they've gained a little bit of weight or something, but they've had 30 years of coaching experience, I would still listen to them personally. But if they're not practicing what they preach, maybe look somewhere else, or maybe check the other areas to see if this person is actually a good fit. I know from experience working in gyms in person that there were coaches who were overweight who would talk to clients about weight loss, and that's really, they can still help them with that. They still can have the knowledge, they can still be the motivation to help them with that, but it's not setting a great example when you're not practicing what you preach. If they say they want to lose 30 pounds because they're overweight and you tell them that it's healthier for them to do that, but you have 30 pounds extra weight, not ideal. OCR, if Luke and I were coaching obstacle course racing athletes, but we hadn't done OCRs and we weren't good at OCRs, it'd be kind of like, who are you to coach me? You may have the training knowledge, but do you have any of the experience? Can you tell me like how I can think mentally on the course? Like, what's a strategy to overcome this obstacle? Like, what's something you dealt with when you were, trying to get through this? Or like, what should I do the morning of race day? All those types of things. And while the answers may vary from person to person, we have a lot of races that we've done. And so we have a lot of experience with those things. And we took the time not to just play around doing it. We purposely planned what we were going to do, so we have experience with that, as well as just early on in our racing, the first 1.5 to 2 years, just casually doing it. Sorry, camera glitch. So having that experience, having practiced what we're preaching matters. It should matter for whatever your goal is. If the person doesn't have the knowledge or the experience, or doesn't live what they're telling you they're an expert in, maybe look somewhere else. Maybe. There are exceptions to every rule, but maybe. Finally, you have to decide, and this is something you have to decide, is the cost worth what you're receiving from your coach? So in-person coaching is more expensive than remote coaching. In-person coaching is more expensive, one-on-one coaching I should say is more expensive than group classes, typically speaking, and group classes are typically speaking more expensive per month than online coaching is. There are pros and cons to both. Obviously the dollar values matter. So if you find that it's not worth it for you financially, then just, let the coach know you're headed out. It's not, everyone's got their financial priorities. If you're not really invested in your goal, so if someone comes to us and they're like, we just, we're not really super serious about this, like, we're not really trying to improve very much, just do some workouts and maybe do a little bit better at the next obstacle course race, that person is probably not going to get their money's worth out of it. Not because our program's not good and not because it's not going to be beneficial to them, but just because they don't really care enough. And I'm not saying you have to be like gung-ho trying to win the world championship or something, but if you don't really care about the goal, maybe don't spend money you don't want to on it. And then, you're not going to have negative feelings towards a coach because you spent money on them, but they didn't make you more motivated than you already were, if that makes sense. Sorry, I got a scratch. It's going to mess up the mic. So yeah, just make sure that the cost is worth it to you. And believe it or not, people will pay for things that they don't actually want. We've had more than one client sign up with us and tell us they have some goals and stuff, but that they're not super serious about them. And we always, I'm as truthful as I possibly can be with clients. I'm like, look, if that's your goal, we may not be the best option for you. We want you to want this so that you actually see the value in what we're giving you, and as you see the progress, you know that it's worth the money, because we don't want to take money where people aren't receiving the real value that we're supposed to be giving them. It's buzzing by my head now. It's invasion. So yeah, make sure it's worth the money. People will spend money on things that they're not really serious about, that they were serious about in a moment. Like if you just finished a race and you're like, I want to do better next time, just because of that moment, but you really don't care that much about working to be better, that type of thing. They'll invest money into it all of a sudden, and then they'll realize, this wasn't really something I wanted to do that much. It was just kind of a spur of the moment thing. We're happy to work with anyone, but we want them to see the benefits and to actually work towards the goal. It's a two-way street. We're working really hard towards their goals by giving them the knowledge and the programming and all the advice we can possibly give, and communicating back and forth and answering questions, and so we want them to work for it as well. That's the only way it works with training. Both parties have to be at work, the coach and the client. I hope that kind of gave you some ideas on what to look for. If you are interested in OCR training, we have a few different products, training programs really, at different levels. So for people a little less serious about it, people more serious about it, people who really want to devote a ton of time to it, and then those looking to do like ultras and things like that. So we have different programs to match different goals, and we customize them all anyway. But I would actually encourage you, before just signing up, if you're not sure that you want to sign up, if you have any doubts or any questions, please email us. The email is info@triofitlife.com. Almost all of the people who sign up with us send us an email first and say, hey, these are my goals, this is kind of my time frame, or like, this is what I'd like to see happen over the course of the next year or a few years or months or whatever. And then we go back and forth with them for usually 2 or 3 emails about like, that sounds realistic, those are things we can help you with, awesome. Or that's not a really realistic goal in our view, so if you want that goal specifically, maybe someone else will say they can give it to you, and maybe they can, maybe they can't, I don't know. There's coaches out there who might be able to do it faster or better or something, but we'll let you know if it's realistic or unrealistic, and we'll let you know in what ways we can help you. Sometimes someone will come on and it'll be like, oh, I want help with improving my average mile time. And it's like, okay, what's your average mile time right now? Because if someone's running an average 5-minute mile, I promise you, I'm not going to improve them. I could get them maybe a few seconds, but nothing more than that. That's just not my area of expertise. Once you break below 5, go find a professional running coach. But if someone's like, oh, I'm at a 6.5-minute mile or a 6-minute mile, we can help you. We can take your mile time down. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. It's going to take time, it's going to take effort, it's going to take work, but we can help you there. So we'll let you know what we can and can't do, and we'll be honest and upfront about it. We just had someone email us with a pretty heavy race schedule considering COVID, but they managed to find some races around them, I guess. But they had a bunch of races coming up in a short window, like 4 or 5 races in 4 or 5 weeks or 6 weeks or something. And they're like, hey, I want to improve my speed. Would it be worth it for me to sign up right now, or should I wait till after the races? And I said, wait till after the races. If you sign up right now, we're just going to be programming around your races, and if we made you put in the work that you needed to do to start improving your time now, you'd be burned out or at least slightly fatigued for the races. So I was just like, yeah, sign up when your races are done, so we can actually put in a few sections of training blocks and actually see the real improvement, instead of having you getting part of the work while we worked around your races, or fatiguing you for your races. So I promise we'll just be honest and upfront about it. We're not really worried about if you sign up today or tomorrow. We just want to help you meet your goals as best as possible. We want to do what's the best thing for you. That was kind of like a long sales pitch, but that's just the truth. I'm just happy that none of them have landed in my coffee yet. It's mine. and then you get like a little screen. That's all I have for you today. Find a good coach. If it's not us, we're not worried about it. We just want you to have a good coach and be happy with your progress. That's it. We can probably help you, but if it's someone else, go for it. Improve, improve, improve. That's it, and I will catch you next time on Coaching Coffee.